Have you ever questioned your existence? Will you ever find love? Have you wondered if there are limits to human creativity? If you have asked yourself any questions of this kind, we have the answers to all your problems. All the correct paths for you.
Only kidding, dude. Let's rock!
Gentlemen, welcome back to the Alpha Idiots, where we bring you some beautiful stories, great conversations, and four wonderful gentlemen who are here to talk to you personally. My name is John, and here with me, because we're all in separate directions, we have in the neon green machine,
Jared.
and and Bob Ross McCross wearing beautiful,
Yeah, Davo.
and then the trucker related to Chris Tucker.
I wish, man. I wish.
And what was your name, sir?
Not related to Chris Tucker, but I am Chris the Trucker.
Oh, yes, very good. So good to see you guys here tonight, and we are going to come at you right now with a topic that was brought to us by, I believe, Jared. And Jared, remind us and the fine folks at home, what do you got for us tonight?
So I was just kind of scrolling around, and I don't know if anybody has seen what Bank of America has done to their patrons, I guess you call it, their customers, their clients, whatever. So,
Oh, no.
so basically, so you everybody obviously remembers the day when I guess the Capitol got, like, the protest outside the Capitol.
Oh, got really hot and heavy? Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah. So
Can I
so
interject
basically,
just real quick, just because of the
Yeah.
way you phrased that? So there was, I don't even remember. I've been so actively avoiding politics and news in general lately, but some politician described January 6, 2021, and the little incident at the Capitol building. He said it was the other day that would live in infamy in U.S. history. He compared it to the bombing of Pearl Harbor. Little dramatic, if you ask me, but just the way you phrased that made me think of his remarks, and it's just so extraneous. It's ridiculous.
well, the interesting thing about kind of leading into that is, so, like, after all that stuff happened, apparently the authorities, the FBI, contacted Bank of America and asked them to go through every one of their customers' banking records to find out who either had an Airbnb in that area, who made any purchases in DC, who like would have any financial ties to the DC area during that whole fiasco.
Right. During
Okay.
1-6. As you
Right.
Yes.
So my whole thing is like, as somebody who uses a bank, like, wow. Dude, it honestly makes me want to pull all my money out of a bank, knowing that my information is supposed to stay private.
Yeah, that's a.
But they can, yeah. But then they can, but then they,
Not with banks.
Hold on.
But-
Let's let Jared bring his initial point through.
I mean, so your information is essentially supposed to stay private. You know, at least not given out to anybody who you don't give authority to. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And then for them to be able to pull that information, I found that a little outlandish. Like, from my understanding, from doing my own research, what Bank of America did by doing that actually broke the law.
Okay.
So as a consumer, that's kind of the question I pose. As a consumer, where do you stand?
So, in my opinion, okay, what I think they did was wrong. Yes, I agree with you. But you don't have the privilege of, say, uh, lawyer-client privilege nor doctor-patient privilege. Now, at any point in time, they can subpoena records from the bank. They can ask for records from the bank. I don't know where you're getting the fact that it's illegal, but because,
Just some research I've done.
okay, so in all kinds of criminal cases that involve everything from um, petty burglary to, murders. I mean, you can watch any kind of uh, criminal investigation show or like First 48 or anything like that, and they will look at this person's records. Hey, this person bought the ski mask at this Walmart on this street at this day and this time that, came from this batch of this, ski mask from this
Yeah, this
manufacturer, and
serial
we found the
number
fibers,
from
yeah,
this series.
so on and so forth.
Yeah.
So financial records, I mean, do I agree with the fact that, that they can just hand it all over like that? No. But I mean, even with your banking apps like Cash App and Venmo, we were literally just talking about it. They track your location via your phone anyway, and
Right.
where you spend it and all that. And it's only going to take the FBI saying, "Hey, I need to investigate his purchase records and where he was at via
Right.
his app."
So I want to interject with one comment. There is like, yeah, if you're kind of investigating a specific person, like, yeah, that would make sense to be able to pull their record. But for you to look at them and say, you're on a fishing mission
Mhm.
for whoever was in that area. I mean, I feel like that would be a little different.
And so we need to rewind that all the way back to Homeland Security, because that falls under terrorists. That's how they're able to do it, is through the different acts that have been passed over the years by not just one administration, not just the Biden, as much as, we're not going to get into my political view on who's who and what's what,
Yeah.
but it's not just the Biden administration. It's not the Trump administration. It's not the Obama administration. And it's not even the Bush administration. All the different presidential administrations that have led towards these different laws being passed for Homeland Security and national security.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what it's falling under, because they're deeming this what happened in Washington, whether you agree with it or not. I'm staying neutral on it, regardless of my personal opinion. But they're viewing what happened in Washington as an act of terrorism. Therefore, all they have to do is lean into those laws that have been passed by every single administration leading up to now and into the current administration.
I
Now,
think me and Chris were.
please.
I was just. I don't want to interrupt you. I think me and Chris were talking about this earlier.
Yeah, everything he said really closely parallels what I was saying about Bush with the fucking Patriot Act, man.
Oh yeah,
is
change the landscape of the United States after that was
yeah,
passed.
huge
100%.
Yeah.
catalyst. Just I've got man, how do I say this? So basically, if you think that domestic intelligence gathering doesn't happen, you're naive at best. But now it's
I agree.
basically just, yeah, they were always able to revoke your rights by just suspending. All they had to do was say the word terrorism, and
Mhm.
all that goes out the window. Kiss the Fourth Amendment goodbye.
Mhm.
Everything you just said is pretty much spot on, and it all started with the Patriot Act. As far as in our lifetimes, our
Right,
generation,
right.
in modern times.
9/11. I mean, that's
Yeah,
where it all started
exactly.
from.
And it seemed to me, I noticed a lot of the folks that were talking about stuff that happened after January 6th, it really seemed like some people wanted that to be a catalyst for the Patriot Act 2.0 that gave them the right to just say, and it goes back to Jared's other point that we were talking about last week too, if he wanted to continue that some more, is just like they've just got to say that your dissenting opinion could be extremism. You must be a terrorist. That's all they need to say. And to hell with a speedy
Terrifying
trial.
terrorist.
Yeah, and you think there's not a judge out there who's gonna say, yeah, well, at one point in time, it was intended for judges to need to sign warrants about specific things to search for specific locations, with a good working theory on why this evidence might exist. No, dude, y'all didn't pay attention to all that FISA court bullshit. Like, let them say the word domestic terrorism suspected. Your rights just went fluttering away.
Hmm.
So I'm kind of like, I see where everyone's coming from with this one, and I think that your point, Jared and Dava, what you explained, and same with you, Chris. But the way I see it is like, since it was such an act of like, regardless of the political nature of it all, the collective, like what's the term, like organization or like planning of the event escalating to that point, one could argue it wasn't planned to go that far. One could argue. But the fact that just from like the base level of someone not being where they're supposed to be, i.e., trespassing on federal ground, that puts them in a whole new ball game of categorization. Like, you could have been on the fringe and like just watching this all happen, sure, and then you get like essentially doxxed by the financial businesses, financial like
Mob mentality takes over.
exactly, right. But like, and essentially, you might, okay, so say you were on the fringe and like, oh shit, but you saw people go in, but you didn't go in, and say they dox your ass, it's like, well, that's kind of screwed up. But you were still there, and this
Yeah.
whole idea of like, you broke the law, like that's the thing here. Like when you went into that federal building trying to get shit, stealing shit, wrecking shit, trying to get into the fucking main hall of like sorry, Senator,
Into the chambers of Congress.
thank you, into the House chambers, it's like, well, I mean, a woman died, for God's sake. It's in video. Like, you could see her get not murdered. She was shot and killed. And it's like, what did you think was going to happen? I mean, I'm again, not the political thing here, but it's like when you're somewhere where you're not supposed to be, especially a federal building, and they have asked you repeatedly not to continue in. They've barricaded the doors, and this chick climbed over like she was in World War Z starring Brad Pitt, and she just got bonked. And it's like, shit. But again, what did you think was going to happen? And then, like Chris just mentioned, the mob mentality, the cop that was killed. And it's like, again, it's like, so I guess you could say like the mob mentality is definitely there. But it also is, it comes down to personal responsibility. And that's like a whole like web of like, can of worms. But if you were there, you knew what was going on, especially if you stayed there. There was one video of a guy, it went viral, but he went up to the Capitol Police and he said, he was pleading with them. I might be able to clip it in here. He was pleading with them to interject with what was going on. He's pleading with them.
Why are you letting this happen? Why haven't you called for backup? Where is your backup? This is our damn Capitol building, and y'all are letting it get destroyed on your watch. Fuck all of you. Call for backup. Get some help down here. And if they don't want to get you fucking backup, they obviously don't give a shit about you. These people want blood.
Like, he's like, and they were just standing by. Albeit I see why they're standing by, because they were like, maybe like this little group was like 6 to a crowd of thousands. Like, so it could have just escalated from there. And as we know, people in that crowd were armed and ready to make shit happen. So,
I didn't see, watching it on the news, like, I have no doubt. I'm not saying I don't believe that there was a single gun anywhere there, but I'll say this. I have flown with firearms. I have traveled domestically and internationally for various reasons, and I personally, I do not travel unarmed. I just don't do it. I don't care where I'm going and for what reason. And so I've got firsthand experience with what it's like to check firearms through airports, and I know what the gun laws are, where those flights were headed, and it would be extremely difficult at best for someone to have flown into DC with with weapons. It would not have been easy for people to bring weapons out of state, carry them through TSA authorized processes to
Right.
get them into their destination airport. And it would have been even more difficult to source a firearm in that location once they were there, other than outside of just buying one off of like the, I get what they call the black market, but buying one secondhand. But I didn't see, watching the news that day, everything that happened live on CNN or whatever news network I might have been streaming on YouTube when I watched it. I didn't see any guns.
No, but
I'm
that's the
sure
thing.
there were some there.
Oh yeah,
I didn't see any.
I just didn't. I don't think it escalated to the point where they were going to fire back. And
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt.
but please, Davo, please. I ranted.
So what makes you think they flew there or they purchased guns when they got there? Because I can hop in my truck out here and drive to DC.
Well, several of them flew.
I mean,
Several of them drove. Like it's all documented, and that's the
Yeah.
beautiful
Yeah.
part. Real quick, I'll finish my little thing here.
Oh, you're
Is that
you're good. You're good.
so many of them recorded themselves, live streamed themselves, essentially gave themselves away. They recorded themselves committing a crime. And then when they're all being scooped up, you have so many people complaining, look at this, like look at the police state that we're in, look at this kind of crap. They're missing the point that they broke the law. Like I think that's like kind of going over their head. And when you see
I think
video, sorry, go ahead, Chris, please.
No, I mean, I was just. I think a lot of those people, on that note, I think a lot of those people were seeing what happened
Mm-hmm.
as far back as Ferguson, Missouri, as far back as that the police station that they burned down. Like all these riots, they took over entire cities, like entire sections of the city. And what was it, Portland or Seattle? One of them.
I'm sorry. Yes, it was Portland.
So we saw all this on the news over the last months to years,
Yeah.
and I think none of the people that justified going into the Capitol building that day, I think none of them thought that that would happen the way it did, because you didn't see any FBI manhunts. You didn't see any federal agencies going after these people that were taking over city blocks. And basically, I think they thought they were doing some of the same thing. And of course, the reaction they got was different, not because, strictly speaking, their political opinions.
Yeah.
It's because they weren't taking over city blocks. They went
Mhm,
into the United States Capitol building.
Precisely.
I mean, it's one thing to shoot a hostage. It's another thing to shoot a high value hostage. I mean, it's like you said, they broke the law, but not all laws are broken in equal severity.
In equal division. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I don't want to get too far away from your original point, though, Jared, because I mean, we're talking about the Capitol thing, and in like kind of in a blanket statement, but you were specifically mentioning the financial overtaking of like just the kind of doxing of people. So I kind of want to get your perspective on, because we've made our points of where we stand and everything, but what do you feel is the main issue with what they're doing? Is it just the fact that they're seeking out like the bits and bobs to really tie down and figure out who these people are?
No, I think it's more or less, instead of actually going after per se individuals that they name or see that they had an account, I think it's more or less like looking at the banking information as a whole, and then trying to piece together who was, who wasn't, what happened here, what happened there, rather than having hard evidence on something to be able to get a subpoena for that particular that piece of information.
Well, you could declare RICO and say that they
For
were
sure.
all cold conspirators. I mean, that's in their right
That's
to
true.
do. They just have to be able to prove it. And as we've discussed, they fucking proved it. There were dates, places, plans.
Oh yeah.
They were all here to do something bad. And when you had again, this isn't a political statement. I don't want it to be this, but when you had the president riling them up right before they did it,
That'll be their defense.
For sure.
I mean, it's there, man. There are arguments to be made. Don't get me wrong here, Jared. I'm not saying that you're wrong in bringing this up.
No, I
It's
got
just
you.
like,
I got you.
I just think that it's one of those things where you can just say, it's pretty cut and dry of like what really went down. Now
Yeah, but
the
shouldn't
repercussions. Oh, but yeah, please go ahead. That's what I'm saying.
no, I'm just saying, but shouldn't every? I mean, at that point, every bank should do it.
Are you saying, well,
You don't think there's a single bank that wouldn't cooperate
No,
with the United
it's
States
not what.
government
No,
investigating?
that
for
would be
sure,
fucking
for
big.
sure.
Holy
No,
shit.
but I'm simply saying that
Your
it's
money's
a
safer with
canvas.
the mob bank.
Right.
Yeah.
It's a canvas. It's a canvassing effort to find out who, because they don't know everybody.
Yeah.
Does that make
Right.
sense?
Yeah, but I
Yeah.
mean, but
Yeah.
like, but to Davo's point, when you watch the cop shows in the first 48 hours, they are fucking checking them bank statements like they are goddamn gospel. Like they were like, bro, what did he buy? Where did he get these boots? Where did he get the knife? And it's like,
Right.
okay, so where did this person get their equipment to store, like the ski mask, even maybe the equipment to make a pipe bomb, which they found a guy that was about to put them
Yeah.
in. So it's like you have these elements that give some sort of credence to the government's reaction to this radicalization and this kind of
And
movement.
another thing is, it's not hard for them to figure out who wasn't normally in the DC area. Like,
Right.
for instance, when I go to the beach, I get a notification whenever when I first swipe my debit card. Hey, is this you?
Right.
You know,
Mm.
you know, I travel 3 or 4 hours away to the beach. Panama City Beach, Florida, and I get down there. First thing I do is gas my bike up as soon as I hit the strip. I'm getting a notification on my phone going through, or a phone call from my bank. Hey, is this you? Because you're not where you normally are,
Right.
and your card's being used, 200 miles away. Well, yeah, it's, I have to, verify, hey, yes, this is me. I'm buying gas. I'm going to be down here. So everybody, like, if you're from either California, uh, Washington, Florida, wherever you're from, and you're in Washington, D.C. on that day, the bank has every single one of those people already flagged.
Mm-hmm.
They're already flagged. They all know who's out of their
geographical
jurisdiction.
sphere. Yeah.
Yeah, their geographical little bubble that they stay in.
Mm-hmm. And
They already know.
and they
All they have to
know
do is, like, here, these are all the people that were there that weren't supposed to
they
be, or
have
that
your
aren't
billing
normally there.
address. They have your bill. That's part of the whole thing. They know exactly where you
Yeah.
live, and you volunteer that information because of course you want them to know
Right.
that you want them to know where you live. It's fucking part of
Yeah.
having money and equity.
Yeah.
So
And I'm pretty sure on multiple accounts that you have, that if you swipe your debit card somewhere, the bank knows that, you probably have some kind of protection, some identity theft protection. Hey, is this you
right
spending this money in this place?
now, see, I'll quick. This is a little anecdote. I remember the first time that happened to me. I felt like a fucking baller because I went
Right.
to a mall and bought a suit, a shirt, and shoes and a belt, and they were like, "Yo,
Whoa! You
yeah.
spent too much money.
I spent close to
Whoa.
$800 today on what?" And that's what they were saying. It's like, "Hi, you spent this much?" I'm like, "Oh yeah, that was totally me. I was getting ready for a holiday party."
Right.
So, but I mean, with that kind of, you have to, with the abundance of technology and apps, it's really cool to have that kind of assurance or reassurance from your bank, because like
Right.
how many? I mean, no offense to you, gentlemen, you guys are a little more seasoned than I am, but it's like before all that.
That's
if you
his
had
nice way of calling us old.
But no, but it's for a point, and I mean it in terms of technology, really.
Right.
Because people's identities would be stolen for weeks, if not months, before someone realized.
Yeah.
And then now it's like you're spending money in Indonesia when you just spent money in fucking Atlanta, not
Right.
but yesterday. That's like, that makes no sense.
Yeah.
See, so they're letting you know some shit.
So another way I learned about that,
Mhm.
there's a YouTube channel I watch called VinWiki.
Mhm.
It's car stories.
Yeah.
But one of the things, the person that hosts the channel, he was a cannonball record holder for a long time.
Oh, cool.
And when he went to do his cannonball run from New York to LA, he went to use his credit card at a gas station. Well, the algorithm of
Uh-oh.
distance versus time from the last time he used it to where he was using it now didn't match up. So the banks locked his credit card down so he couldn't
No.
pay for gas on his cannonball run
Oh,
because he was averaging over 100 miles an hour from New York to wherever he stopped to get gas.
the poor man.
Yeah. No, well, I mean, he wound up getting the cannonball record anyway because he
Of
brought
course.
multiple credit cards with him. But the credit card he was specifically trying to use, they were like, "Well, stop it. There's no way you traveled that far that fast."
Yeah.
Yeah, he kind of did.
Yeah, exactly. Wow. I mean,
But yeah,
yeah, Jared, did you have any other points to bring up about that one, bud? I mean,
No, I'm good there.
well, you know what? On that note, since we're talking about the type of personal responsibility and beautiful, wonderful nighttime crimes being committed, they can only call on one man and his trusty sidekick, Robin. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Brought to you by myself. My topic this evening, we are going to be talking about the Batmen, but the Batman, with specifically the Snyder Cut Justice League coming out later this year.
I'm so excited.
And then it was pushed back, unfortunately. But the Batman with Rob Pat as the new Batman.
Speaking of which,
Mhm.
today I saw the trailer. Today, I'm not angry about it.
Neither am I, man. I mean, I posted it for a
So,
reason, man. I wanted y'all to see it.
so
What a controversial stance you've taken.
okay, so
I'm pissed.
Yeah.
No.
the Batman
Mm-hmm.
doesn't glitter like diamonds.
Oh, it's just so
I'm
wonderful.
I'm not angry about it. So okay, I want you to go ahead because I've got a lot to talk about on this one.
No, that's fine. And just for like full disclosure, I'm not okay, but yeah, I'm wearing this to celebrate as like the top. So, but I'll just be like perfect, like transparent here. I'm not like the biggest Batman fan. He's not even my favorite superhero. I just think that his journey cinematically has been so interesting in terms of the different styles that he's gone through. Not even cosmetically, but also how actors have played him, how he's been written, and the quality of scripts that surround him in his films, the character that is. So, but let me get a read for the room real quick, Davo, because I want to see where Jared and Chris land. Let's just go with either your favorites or your favorite, like your favorite Batman or your favorite Batman movie. What's your history with Batman? Let's go with Chris first, please.
All right, so before I respond, I got a question.
Yes.
I'm going to answer your question with a question.
Why is it noteworthy that Batman no longer sparkles?
No,
Okay.
no.
Please, Davo, please.
So Batman never sparkled. The
You
man
sound like
currently playing the man currently playing the Batman is Robert Pattinson, who was that little vampire movie that
Twilight.
really
The
sucked.
Twilight series.
Yes, Twilight.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was a really crappy vampire.
So he was Edward. He's what's
Sparkled.
called a vegetarian vampire
was
who only fed on
Sparkly
animals.
vampire.
And that was the thing.
Sparkly.
Well, you know what? Let's talk about. Let's unpack that on that level just a little bit because I read the first book back in junior high to senior year summer break. I didn't know what it was about. I just knew it was really popular, so I picked it up, and I was like, "Oh, okay, it's a vampire book. All right, fine, I'll read it. Whatever." But then, and in the book, they changed the mythology and like what vampires are. Instead of dying in sunlight, they sparkle like diamonds because they're so perfect. Instead of dying from like
So
being
sparkly.
like, instead of dying from like steaks and shit, they have to be decapitated. Like, and vegetarian vampires, that's not new. There have been vampires that feed on animals instead of humans for many different types of vampire stories. Twilight comes out as a movie. It completely gets rid of the idea of what the story's about. I'm not saying it was good in the first place, but now it just becomes how sexy Edward and Jacob are. The werewolf versus the vampire. And so yeah, exactly. It's so that's where Davo's opinion of Rob Pat comes from, which is not unfounded. But he has gone on record about how he hated doing those movies, especially after the second one. Like he did not enjoy making them. And I think
He doesn't have to worry about being judged by critics like me because I never saw those movies.
That's fine,
Okay.
man. But trust me, they are. Whew, Jesus. Try.
So because I have seen those,
Mhm.
it for me to see Rob Pat as something other than the sparkly vampire.
Yeah.
Okay. When you first told me that Rob Pat was going to be the next Batman, I'm
I
like,
remember.
no, the fuck he's not. No,
Yeah.
no. This is going to suck. Like this is going to be bad.
Yeah.
Like why? This is going to be worse than what?
Ben
God,
Affleck.
yes, him. This is going to be worse than Ben Affleck as
Yeah.
Batman,
Yeah.
which to me didn't suck.
Mm-hmm.
So without getting too far off of the Batman,
Yeah.
since we're dogging out vampire movies, can anybody tell what a good one was since Queen of the Damned? That's the only one that even comes to mind. for me.
Since then, I
Yeah.
mean,
or no, what was that one with was it Underworld? Is that what it was called?
bro, Kate
That one was
Beckinsale,
good.
the first one
Yes.
fucking slaps
Yeah.
hard. That
Yeah.
movie
Yeah,
is fun.
I just remembered that one. That was a good
Yeah.
vampire
Yeah.
movie.
The
Remember
first, actually, the first movie and the third one is called Rise of the Lycans. That it was a straight
Yes,
DVD
Yes.
movie, and that
yes,
movie is surprisingly good. Holy shit,
Mhm.
Yeah.
Martin,
I agree.
Michael Sheen, the actor that plays Lucian, phenomenal.
Yeah.
I thought about Underworld as I was asking
Right.
if there was a good. Yeah.
There was the first
Yeah.
two Blade movies, which I think are really good.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
then there's also
Ooh, that's
Yeah,
a whole
that's-
nother topic right there.
Yeah,
the
that's
Blade
a whole
that's a
movies.
new
other
Blade coming
category.
out. Yes. So
Another day, another time.
yeah, another day. But my personal favorite vampire film is Interview with the Vampire. That one's got Tom
Mhm.
Cruise and Brad Pitt. That movie it was written by Anne Rice.
Yes.
That story, bro.
Yes.
That movie is so cool. I'm telling
Slaps.
you, it slaps so. Ooh, and it's so homoerotic. It's so weird, but it's so cool.
It is. It is.
But
yeah.
it does it tastefully to the point where you're like, it doesn't make you uncomfortable. It's just like all the vampires look beautiful. They all have like long
Yeah.
flowing hair. They all like have beautiful complexion, but they're pale.
Right.
Like it's like, and they all kind of move very slowly and sensually. So it's very like they look very effeminate. But but what those characters do, it's one of the most brutal vampire films you'll ever see. Like,
Oh, yeah.
fuck. Like to the point where I was like, the first time I watched it, I was like, okay. I was like, that's intense. But let's Jared, to you, Batman. Where you at? Your history with the bat.
Man, dude. So I mean, we were actually talking about this earlier. So Christian Bale at first, like that, he was kind of like my like I think me and Chris can agree on that. Is like he was the one who I think of Batman. That's who I think of.
Okay.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
But I would definitely say that probably I liked Michael Keaton.
Bro. 89 Batman. Yeah.
Yeah.
Similarly, Christian Bale, like when I think of Batman, I think Christian Bale, but simultaneously, I cannot see or think of Val Kilmer without thinking about him and Nicole Kidman.
See,
And
I'm so
was it the
glad you brought that up.
95 Batman?
Let me look up the years on that. Yeah, but that was
I think
Batman
with Jared.
Forever.
Okay, that's what me and Jared
At
were talking about
95.
earlier.
That's right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So let's actually unpack that real quick. So for me, the best Batman is Christian Bale. Not just for the reason of his performance, because like Dave and I have talked about the issue with his voice, and that's easily his biggest criticism. It's just
I'm Batman.
this is. Should I do the impression again, Devo?
Do
Should I
it. Do it.
Do it.
Okay, so in Batman Begins, he sounds like this. I'm not kidding. He goes like, Katie Holmes is asking him, like, she's like, "Who are you?" And he goes like, "Someone like you, someone who'll rattle the cages," you know. And then like later on, he goes, "It's not who I am underneath, what I do that defines me," and it's like that kind of like harsh whisper. And then when you see Dark Knight, the first, like, you know, the second movie, Dark Knight, he's just like, "I'm not wearing hockey pads," and you're like, where did this come from? You know, it's like all of a sudden he just went hard death metal when he was just kind of like doing like some sultry, like really harsh whisper.
Death clock, death clock,
Yeah,
death
death
clock.
exactly. Made an explosion. But yeah, it
Right.
you have
Dr. Roxo.
exactly the rock and roll clown. I took cocaine.
Hey, I can tell y'all right now, Jared don't know nothing about Death Clock.
Oh
I
man,
can
you got to
tell
watch
now.
Metalocalypse. It is a blast and a half. So you have like that transition for the character. But the funny thing is that you go back to where Batman broke its I mean, you could say the pun broke its back like under its own weight with Batman and Robin with George Clooney, which is where the franchise died.
With the
Which
nipple suit.
With the nipple suits. I mean, they had it at the end of Batman Forever, so I'll give them some leeway stylistically, but they look horrible. But the thing is that when George Clooney was Bruce Wayne, this is what he sounded like. Bruce Wayne, hi. And then he drops from the ceiling. He's got the bat cape, drops in, sees Arnold Schwarzenegger. Hi, Freeze. I'm Batman. It's like, you didn't even try. There's like no difference in voices, no difference in character, right? And so when you look at the film, and to go to Batman Forever, I think that Val Kilmer, his look, because he had chin, he had height, and when he was out of the suit, I mean, I'm not going to say the cliche, but no homo, but like fucking Val Kilmer. Good God, what a good looking guy. Like that, he's just, anytime he's on screen, you're just glued to him. You see him
Have
in
you
that.
seen recent pictures of him?
I know. He had a
It's sad.
tracheotomy and
It's
he had
sad.
throat cancer, man. It's fucking horrible.
Yeah.
But he had he was in that. He's in Tombstone, Top Gun, The Saint, like in so many Touchstone pictures.
Tombstone.
Exactly,
Oh,
dude. He's
man.
Doc Holliday.
Yeah.
I'm your
dude, that's some
Huckleberry.
shit.
I mean, dude, that's what I'm saying.
Right.
Like this guy was he had and oh, by the way, let's just talk about Batman Forever for a second. The cast. Okay, this is 90s, 95. Okay, walk with me here.
Hey man, chill
But-
out. Chill out.
No, but check this out. You have Val Kilmer. You got Jim Carrey, Tommy Lee Jones, Nicole
Yeah, buddy.
Kidman. I mean, it's everyone at the peak, and Chris
Yeah.
O'Donnell to round it out,
Yeah.
and Drew Barrymore. She's one of Two-Face's concubines. Like you
Oh,
have,
that's right.
that's right. You have every single cast member at peak efficiency here, but the movie didn't do so. Like it's not that good of a film, and I think but it stems from the fact. Well, let's take it back further to Batman Returns, with Keaton, Michelle Pfeiffer, Danny DeVito, and Christopher Walken, taking like the darkness of like where Batman can go to a whole new level. I mean, you got Penguin biting off noses, you got him kidnapping Firstborn, you got him like eating raw fish, just looking like a slob. Every line is a sexual innuendo whenever Catwoman's in a scene. Like you have all these new tones coming through, pisses off the fucking distributors and all the merchandisers, forcing Warner Brothers to make it more family friendly, and that's why you have a more light, bright, crazy, colorful, cartoony Batman and Robin, Batman Forever. It's in the history books, folks. But of course, it stems from '89 Batman with Michael Keaton, which totally blows the roof off of what superhero movies can be. Because the only real ones comparable at that period were the Richard Donner Superman films. I think three of them might have been out by the time Batman came out. The first Batman '89.
I'm getting the impression that I didn't see a single Batman movie between Batman Forever and whichever one of the Dark Knights Christian Bale did. I don't think I saw a Batman between Val Kilmer and Christian Bale.
So it would be you probably missed Batman and Robin with Arnold Schwarzenegger, Uma Thurman, and George Clooney.
Horrible movie.
Yeah, well you're good. You lucked out. You lucked out on that
I
one.
didn't even know Uma Thurman was in one.
So
Oh, and she's pretty. Poison Ivy in that.
there's a Batman that we haven't touched on.
The 66?
Adam West.
Adam West.
I mean, he's the OG.
He is.
Adam
He's not- he-
West.
He's not my favorite. He's not my favorite.
Right.
He is number 2.
Wow.
He is number 2. My favorite is honestly, like you, the Christian Bale Batman.
Yeah.
I agree with that. Now, back to the Ben Affleck Rob Pat Batman.
Yeah.
So both of them, as soon as I heard about that, I was just like, oh my God, they just ruined.
So
Bat-
Ben
like-
Affleck was Batman,
yeah.
Oh yeah.
but
Oh,
wasn't he also like a blind lawyer superhero or something?
Daredevil in
Daredevil.
2003. Let me check myself.
So there's several
2003.
actors that have crossed over from MCU to DCU.
I didn't even know
Marvel
those two
Universe and
superheroes
DC
were different.
Universe. So it's like Ryan Reynolds was Green Lantern in the DC Universe before the DCU really happened, but he played Green Lantern.
But
Well, now Ryan Reynolds is Deadpool in the Marvel Universe, but before it was like the Marvel universe, it was the Fox Marvel universe.
Are you
And
talking
he
about
played-
Van Wilder, Ryan Reynolds?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah, dude.
Jeez.
Right,
I'm
right
not
there.
up to date on my superhero
Deadpool.
movies at all.
Well, shit, man. I didn't know y'all were not so well. There's like half of us having this full conversation. I'm so sorry.
yeah.
I'm
No,
trying to keep up, man. I'm filling in missing history just by context.
Yeah, so like Ben Affleck, yes, did play Batman in the Zack Snyder movies. So they had the first the first Superman movie, Man of Steel. And then they made Batman v Superman. And then they made Justice League. Justice
Yes.
League was that's a whole, I mean, we could write essays, but like of how shitty of a movie and production that was. But
yes.
when the short story of it is that Zack Snyder was directing it. His daughter offed herself, and then it was a family tragedy. He lost focus. He couldn't do it, and it was traded to Joss Whedon for director's chair. And he was the director that directed the Avengers, and he did Buffy the Vampire Slayer. I mean, he's got some fingers in a bunch of different pies. But they brought him in to finish the movie and to reshoot it. Well, the movie comes out, and it is a complete cacophony of lack of direction, poor plot, poor acting, poor everything. Everything about that movie almost doesn't work. The only thing that works for me is the Flash most of the time. But so, Zach, due to the internet rallying for their demand for it, Zack Snyder now has a second chance, and it's called the Snyder Cut. Zack Snyder, the Snyder Cut, that is going to be streaming in 4 parts. Yeah, the whole movie.
Yeah.
And with reshoots. It had like a $25 million budget.
Mhm.
And that's what's coming out. I think, is it March, Davo?
It keeps getting pushed back.
Yeah.
I think currently it's March, but I mean, it's been pushed back for the past year.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, because I think I was talking about this back in 2019 that they're doing the Snyder Cut. And I've been like sitting here on edge for the past year waiting on a date, and we still don't have like a set in stone concrete. This is the
Right.
date.
So it was actually, so as it stands, tentatively, of course, just looking at the Google search, initial release, March 18th, 2021. So
Okay.
why this is such a big deal, and it's not such a Batman thing, but it's a big deal because people saw the original film, but people know there's more footage and more things out there that we didn't see because it was in the trailers. And it's also, there's deleted scenes on the DVD and Blu-rays and shit. So it's like, we know there's another movie out there, and people rallied and wanted this to be more than it was. And then they said, okay, fine, we'll give it to you with a couple $1 million behind it. That's a big deal. Like, think about that for a second. That hasn't even happened with Star Wars yet.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Like, where's J.J. Abrams at right now?
Where's JJ being like, bitch, we're gonna like take episode 8 and just and put my own 8 in the middle, so at least shit makes sense now. Like, that's what I'm saying. It's like it's such
Call
a
it remastered.
exactly, yeah, the Abrams remastered. So it's like you really have something there with fans demanding for something like that, and it worked. And I think that's cool. But it's a slippery slope, but it's hard. It was even hard to get that off the ground because, like, I mean, mind you, I think Justice League came out in 2017. Let me check myself. Yeah, 2017. So it's taken 4 years to get this going. I mean, this is not a short feat. So, anyways, but the Ben Affleck Batman, fuck it, just.
I mean, he's not bad. Like, it's
not his performance, but it's what they do with the character.
Right.
That just doesn't work.
Him as Batman
Mm-hmm.
is leaps and bounds ahead of George Clooney.
Oh yeah.
If you think Ben Affleck peaked in Jay and Silent Bob, go ahead and hit that subscribe button.
Ooh, where's it at?
Yeah. I would argue he peaked in Pearl Harbor.
Oh, that's right. He wasn't.
Yeah.
No, that movie fucking sucked. No, I was just saying, like, I think Gone Girl is his best film, like bar none. I think that movie, his performance mixed with a good film, which also trends itself to fucking Batman, like the Batman.
Good Will Hunting.
Oh yeah, he was good in that
I say,
too.
dude, I think Ben Affleck. All I think about Jay and Silent Bob and Good Will Hunting. That's it.
Yeah.
And Dogma too. Have you guys seen that one?
Oh yeah, that was pretty good.
Yeah, that's a good
pretty-
one.
But again, that's Jay and Silent Bob. I mean,
Well,
Oh, no,
we're
it's the
also
same
talking about
universe.
Kevin
Yeah,
Smith
yeah,
as
yeah,
the director. We're
yeah.
talking about Kevin Smith here
Yeah, exactly.
as the director. I mean, it's not really a. He doesn't really have to act. He just has to listen to Kevin
yeah.
Smith.
Have you ever watched any of his like interviews or commentary and stuff? He's a pretty cool guy.
Oh, he
Kevin
seems
Smith
chill, dude. I would
fucking
love
awesome.
to like lay back and just like talk to that guy. Like he seems so
yeah, he's cool as shit.
And Clerks, like, well, actually, Davo did one of my new sound bits. Actually, might be able to pull it up real quick. Right there.
They heard you guys you guys tied the knot of stormtroopers at the Unitarian Church.
So it's so crazy, like thinking about the different interpretations, different actors, the different writers, different. I mean, just for instance, going from Batman Returns to Batman Forever, Gotham gets a whole new facelift. It's a whole new different type of city. It's like a utopia with like, which I actually I think is really cool because it just looks so mythical and crazy, especially in Batman Forever. Like they're racing in between and onto like steel like statues that are like 150 feet tall, and like and it's like that's pretty cool. Like it's very comic booky. Whereas that's my biggest.
Like I can't.
Yes.
I was just as you're describing it, I'm picturing. I can't get the picture out of my head when he wraps the dude up with the phone cord in the chair and pushes him out the window, and he falls down into the river out of the building. Just that architecture, the whole city design. It was like, you're supposed to equate Gotham to like New York City, but I've been
Right.
to New York City and I've seen that movie, and it's just not like you said. It was its own special, unique
Look.
setting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean that's my biggest criticism with the Nolan films, the Christian Bale. Okay, now we're talking about ones you guys have seen. So, the Christian Bale movies, right? That's my biggest criticism with them is that Gotham feels almost too real. Like at least in Batman Begins, when they go to the Narrows, like that really dingy part, like where they first meet Scarecrow, where Arkham Asylum is, it feels different. But then when you go to Dark Knight and Dark Knight Rises, there's almost no like soundstage design. It's all like, I mean, there are
This is New
sound stages.
York City.
Yeah, they use New York City, Pittsburgh, and Chicago. To like in different parts of it. And in Dark Knight Rises, they use LA as well. They use downtown LA. So it's like the face, it was always changing the look, but it felt too real. I liked there being parts of Gotham where it was like, it isn't our world. And that's cool. Jared, please say something.
Oh, I'm listening, man. I'm listening.
No, I'm saying in a sense, like, do you have anything to add? Because like I know you like Christian Bale. Like, I mean, what for you made him? Oh no, wait. Who was your favorite Bat? I don't know if you ever said.
Yeah, I did. So I liked Christian Bale, but I was more or less I liked what's his name again? Michael Keaton.
That's right. I'm so sorry. I blanked on that one, boss.
I can't believe you. What are you doing?
Most people
this
have
is me
an
right
issue
here. I
with
just like
Michael.
the flight. We saying Devil?
Most people have an issue with Michael Keaton as Batman because they can't get past Beetlejuice. Whenever they see Batman, they see Beetlejuice. I'm not one of those people.
No, dude. Listen,
But-
listen. I wasn't even born in '89 or before '89. But listen, man. When he has that thug on the roof, and he grabs his ass, and he's like, "Don't kill me, man." He's like, and he goes, "I'm not gonna kill you. I want you to tell your friends about me." What are you? A Batman. And it's like, I just got chills for saying it to myself. I was like, dude, that is so mint. And like the way, I mean, because like his suit is like, he can't turn his head. He has to move with leading shoulders.
Right.
But it's like, other than that, it's like the design and look of that character for that time. Again, like I said, the only comparable quality superhero films when that came out were the Superman movies. And it's like, it's so what
I mean, Batman. I mean, Michael Keaton's Batman was mint. I mean,
Yeah.
he really was on point.
I agree.
Like, I think the
I
only
watched that with
discussion
my
we really
brother.
have here is the only bad Batman was George Clooney.
I would agree to that. I mean, like full on bad. Yes, because
No.
the movie, not just him, but the movie surrounding him was not
Yeah.
good. So when you
Yeah.
have someone like when you have Val Kilmer's Batman and Bruce Wayne, when you have his, it's like at least you still have it's not that great of a film, but at least you have the Jim Carrey performance as him as the Riddler, and that was pretty fun and entertaining. Problem was is that you should have had Two-Face leveling him out, but they were both
Right.
really cartoony villains that didn't like
Right.
match
So
up.
my biggest issue with that one is Two-Face because Tommy Lee Jones was too cartoony. Tommy Lee Jones is not that kind of an actor.
Nope.
He is such a great, serious actor.
That can be
I mean-
subdued and yet like up here at the same time. Like he doesn't
Right.
even have to say much to make you really feel much.
And they literally turned him into a fucking cartoon.
Yeah.
Like they could have done so much more with his character, but I don't even remember who the director was. They ruined
It
that
was
fucking
Joel
character.
Schumacher, and he after a couple years after Batman and Robin came out, he formally apologized to the fans for letting them down. Because there was now, and I'll tell you this, like, and I'll give Batman and Robin some leeway. The toys for the merchandise were designed, ready to be shipped before the movie even made their designs. So they had to match what they were making for the merchandise for the movie, not the other way around. So
That's
this
an
was-
interesting fact. I didn't know that.
That's right.
I
So
didn't know
this
that
was a
either.
money-making scheme mixed with like going in, against like artistic integrity. But when you have a big budget film like this, especially with like, I mean, Batman Forever wasn't a small film. Like it made its budgets back. And again, it wasn't universally panned like Batman and Robin would be. But it's like, because there are some aspects of that movie that work. But it's like, when you have, in Joel Schumacher's case, a director who has the studio just breathing down his neck to make sure this is kiddie enough to sell well to families, rather than going down the dark route. It's like, man, that must suck. Like, I would have hated to be in his shoes, to have like a studio just being like, make it more cartoonish or die.
Well, I even
you know?
remember, because I was I say a kid, but I think I was probably a teenager or something when it came
Yeah.
out. What year did it come out?
I think it was 98. Let me check myself. Keep going. Keep talking.
98. Okay, so I was
97.
17 years old.
97.
Okay, 97. I was 16 years old. So I was, in high school at that time. I remember the McDonald's campaign
Exactly.
about Batman Forever.
I still got the glass
it
mugs.
was,
Got two.
yeah. I mean, but it was huge.
Yeah.
Like Batman Forever was everywhere.
No, and that's
Yeah.
the thing. It's like
Like-
that was a double whammy of it, and you don't see that as much anymore because I think like families and people have kind of wised up to like how just kind of gross it used to be. Or like let's just fucking blitz the market from video games to T-shirts to toys to Happy Meal toys, everything you can imagine, and you can even talk about most of that in just like multimedia situations. But it's like, seriously, bro, there was a gross practice going on at that time. Now it's leveled
Oh, yeah.
out a lot more. You don't have
Oh,
you
yeah.
don't have the tie-in video games anymore, thank Christ, because the majority of them, like 98% of them, are ass. The only good one I ever played was the Peter Jackson's King Kong from 2005. That game is fucking awesome. But anyways,
yeah.
that's neither here nor there. But let's to wrap this up, folks.
Well, hold on, look.
Yeah.
You telling me my man Tommy Lee Jones apologized for being Harvey Two-Face?
No. Joel Schumacher, the director.
He apologized
I
for
was
what he
fixing to say-
did to that character. Well, not just
To-
that
to
character.
Batman
but
in
all.
general. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
I was gonna say, if Tommy Lee Jones apologized for anything, as a Tommy Lee Jones fan, I want an apology for that dumbass cheerleader movie I watched where he was babysitting cheerleaders.
It's like Man of the House or something like that. Hold on.
I don't need it. He was like a federal marshal or some shit.
Yep, Man
Well,
of
he
the House
always-
2005.
That movie sucked.
So real quick though.
I
mean,
don't think
it's
I
just
saw a single titty.
sad times. Sad times. It's a sad day. It was like me when I was watching Spring Breakers. I was like, man, this is fucking boring.
Oh, that was an interesting movie.
It is, but I couldn't get into it.
It didn't live up to the trailers
right?
though.
Say
They
that again?
hyped it way too much.
What'd you say, Davo?
You're talking about Girls Gone Wild, right? Spring Break?
Oh yeah, I have the VHS coming in 2 weeks.
VHS?
yeah.
No, that was on DVD. It was on DVD.
So yeah, just realize real quick that Batman Forever killed the franchise. That movie like killed Batman in a live action sense. So he was still existing pretty well in the animated sphere, especially on TV with Batman Forever and Batman the Animated Series. which is where this Joker design comes from.
Right.
And
I remember that Joker
yeah,
design too.
and like it's like later on, it's in the later seasons where they kind of simplify his look, and it's interesting now. I feel because they reintroduced him in the Snyder movies, not in his own movie. They reintroduced him in the Superman movie,
Right.
of which I felt because Lex Luthor is the villain in that film, like bar none the villain. The villain in that movie. I mean, I don't want to talk about what ifs and like where the plot should have gone or could have gone, but the bad guy, the villain in that movie, should have been Batman. He should have been the villain. So it should have followed Superman, and Superman is on Batman's heels. That should have been the movie. But they totally botched it, and they botched the treatment of the character with a bad film. I think Batman v Superman is a horrible film. It does.
Yeah.
I mean, who here has seen it? I'm sorry,
I have.
Chris. No. Well, let's just say,
Oh man,
Chris, I'll give you a spoiler. Let's just say
it's
that
fine. I promise. At this point, I'm not. I'll enjoy the plot more hearing your feedback than experiencing it.
Well,
myself.
it's not going to be the whole plot, but let's just say that the duel between two titans of fictional storytelling, and just in their stature as characters themselves, the resolution of them coming to peace is their mothers having the same name.
Martha.
that Pulitzer Prize winning situation. It sounds like.
Bro, this movie won a Nobel Prize for bullshitting. All right, like for farming bullshit. Like I'm telling you, agriculture.
See,
Man,
I don't even think the way you pose that it does still like I don't think it would even be a competition if Superman and Batman actually fought. Like hands down,
Right.
Superman's gonna kick Batman's ass.
So that's
Well, that
go ahead.
yeah. In the movie, that's the thing. Superman should have kicked Batman's ass, but Batman had this suit of armor.
And he had kryptonite gas. Give him some credit. Yeah, kryptonite
Tony Stark.
gas. Yeah, he had
But,
an Iron Man suit. Yeah.
Right. Basically, Batman had an Iron Man suit and
Okay.
some kryptonite gas. That's how he was able to hang with him.
Well, he was able. Yeah, he was able to go toe to toe.
Rip off of Marvel. Rip off of Marvel.
But he barely won the fight. Like that's the thing. Like he wins. Like he wins the bout. But I shit you not. He has Superman. He has his foot on his throat with a kryptonite spear. I'm gonna, and he cuts his cheek. He just gives him that little like fuck you, like I'm gonna make you bleed before I kill you. And then and then Superman goes, I'm not joking. Save Martha. And then Batman goes,
What did you say?
And it makes him PTSD flashback to when his parents were murdered, and it just and then Lois Lane shows up out of almost fucking nowhere. Goes, why did he say that name? And like fucking Lois Lane's like, it's his mother's name, as he's like coddling his his near corpse. I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you.
You know, just since you referenced Batman's parents and what happened to him, I still like, even as you say that, I picture the scenes in Batman Forever where it shows him running and as he's describing like what happened, and I can't remember in detail how it went, but you know what I'm talking about, that part of the movie where
he's at the wake, he grabs his dad's journal, and he falls
and
into
he
a
runs.
Pit. Yes.
Yeah.
And it's really,
that movie did a great job creating a world for you to immerse yourself in.
And that was the first time you got the idea that I don't remember, because in Batman, in the first Batman 89, you see the flashback to the murder. And in Batman v Superman, you see it in the opening credits. And you kind of see like the genesis of Batman, which I personally feel. I mean, it's an interestingly done sequence, has some good like cinematography and photography, but you don't need to see it again. It's like seeing Peter Parker's uncle get killed.
We know this. We know how it happened.
We know this, so we don't.
We know Peter Parker got bit by a radioactive spider.
We
Everybody
know how
knows.
Uncle Ben died, but they changed that in Amazing Spider-Man, like the one with Andrew Garfield, and they chalked it up to it being a misfire, an accident.
That's more of an explanation. That's more of an explanation than Ryan Johnson gave. So,
I mean, you have something like Batman and his origins, and I'll just say this much: I'll give Ben Affleck's Batman just a little bit of credit. I like how they set him up. Because when Man of Steel happened and he fights Zod in Metropolis and they destroy dozens and dozens of skyscrapers, it's a titanic fight ripping apart a city. Just imagine Atlanta, imagine Los Angeles, and it's cut in half due to two aliens duking it out. Okay. Well, while the movie was in production for Batman v Superman, so many people over the years were like, oh man, Superman's so stupid. Why didn't he take the fight outside the city? Why didn't he grab Zod and move it to like a more desolate area? Blah, blah, blah. Well, guess what? They took that fuel, they took that fire and put it into Batman to where he was so scared of Superman. I love this quote. He says, Batman's like, Alfred is like, bro, Superman's not your enemy. And Bruce Wayne goes, he has the power to wipe out the entire human race. If there's even a 1% chance of that happening, we have to act as if it is an absolute certainty. In one line, you give your entire character an ethos and motivation.
Yeah.
And it works. It oozes. And you're like, yes. But then, like, the way they resolve it, as I've said, as Davo well knows, it's so stupid.
Yeah.
And when... that's kind of the thing. It's like when you have a movie that surrounds a cool character like Batman not being the quality it could be, it doesn't add to the level of quality for the character at large. It just doesn't. You can't just flat out say,
I'm gonna go ahead and say Hancock is a better superhero than Batman, and I want anybody listening to go ahead and leave a comment and tell me why I'm wrong.
That movie is not bad up until that
So,
twist, actually.
My thought of Ben Affleck's Batman is the same as Jared Leto's Joker. They didn't do the character justice. Like, there's so much more. Like, seeing Ben Affleck as Batman, he sold me. It's
Jared Leto played the Joker in Suicide Squad, right?
Correct. And that Batman, Ben Affleck's Batman, is in the same universe. He shows up in that movie.
Right. So I think between writing and directing, they screwed Ben Affleck's Batman. I think given the proper script and the proper director, it was Zack Snyder on Justice League. Who did Batman v Superman?
Zack Snyder.
Did he?
He did that, and he also
how did he screw that up?
I don't know.
Well, it had to have been writing then.
It is the writing, but it's because Zack Snyder is a very, very talented visual director. Fight me on that, man. 300 is still one of the best looking movies.
No, I'm not arguing.
Oh no,
that.
I'm not saying to you.
That.
I'm just saying in general. Like he's very good visually, but on a storytelling aspect, his stuff can be very surface level or poor.
Yeah, that describes 300 well.
Yeah.
Well, but it's because it's such a simple plot. Just guard a zone, and boom.
But I mean, if that's his creative process and methodology in general, I mean,
I never once thought I'd be sitting here defending Ben Affleck. But
don't bother.
I mean, but no, seriously, I think he did an excellent job of what he was given to portray said character. It wasn't bad acting. It wasn't bad acting on his part.
Right.
Just like with Jared Leto, they screwed that Joker so hard. That Joker, they never gave him a chance.
No.
Dude, the trailers,
the
leaked
so
footage
cool.
of Jared Leto, that's the Joker I've been wanting. I've been wanting to see that psychosis of the Joker.
Right.
Every Joker has a different psychosis. I've been wanting to see that one.
Right.
Especially Jared Leto's portrayal of said psychosis. You give Jared Leto a psychosis to play in a movie. What's that movie I just recently saw? The Little Things. Have you seen that?
Good? Was that good?
Phenomenal. Jared Leto's psychosis in that movie.
Yeah. Spot
on.
Awesome.
Like, watch it. The Little Things. Denzel Washington was great in it. The guy that played. Yeah. Yeah. He kind of threw me off a little bit. His character was hard for me to, because he plays the younger hotshot detective.
Okay.
with the wife and kids and all that.
Okay.
But I'm not trying to give everything away.
No, it's
But
fine.
Jared Leto's his ability to play a psychosis is phenomenal, and that movie established that fact.
Mhm.
Like I think they did Jared Leto so wrong in Suicide Squad
Well,
as
that
Joker.
it comes down to. I mean, the story. Everyone's seen Suicide Squad here, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I think that's the
Yeah,
one we talked about where I think the whole plot was kind of circular. It was self-fulfilling. The plot existed because the plot existed, basically.
Man, that is so succinct and beautiful. Like that, like the story in that movie makes almost zero sense, and
right.
it's like, excuse me, it's the characters themselves, how they meet and everything. Okay, bad things happening. Now I heard a great now and this ties into Batman. I heard a great idea of what the plot of that movie should have been. It should have been by proxy, Lex Luthor. Like, so let's say Lex Luthor sends an emissary out and hires all these people to
Mm.
steal Zod's corpse. Not even Zod, or correction, Superman's corpse after he dies at the end of Batman v Superman.
Oh yeah, I remember
So
you sharing
Yeah.
this with us before.
it's a
Yeah.
heist movie instead of this
Yeah.
Yeah.
fucking save the world bullshit with
Right. That
Cara
would have been
Delevingne
perfect.
popping and locking. I'm going to take over all the machines.
Oh,
It's
that
like,
shit was so stupid, man. I almost quit watching
Yeah.
the movie right there.
It
Yeah,
was the
that
first
that
thing
was
that
like
movie.
the worst. I can't even explain. It was just the worst.
Yeah, is the Oscar-winning Suicide Squad, by the way. One for best makeup.
I'm a huge Will Smith fan, and
Bro.
Margot
He was hot
Robbie
garbage.
is.
He was hot garbage in that movie.
I can't say that because I like Will Smith. I don't feel like Will Smith did anything to ruin. I mean, I
No, it
think
wasn't
he's
him.
better than the character.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
He was in that movie,
He
and
is.
every time
Yeah.
he was in that in the scenes, I was like, why is he in this? Like, why is he
You could have literally put X actor in said spot and felt
100%?
any actor you could have chose.
But it's
Well,
like
see, they
White,
got
black,
me.
Hispanic. It doesn't matter their race, what they've starred in.
Yeah.
The way that character was written for that movie, you could have picked any actor, dropped it in that spot, gave him the lines, and they could have played that part.
are we some sort of Suicide Squad? It's like, come on, man. Like,
Look, dude, they suckered me because there's not much of anything with Margot Robbie or Will Smith in it that I'm not gonna at least check out.
Right.
well, Margot, she's phenomenal. Not just beautiful, she's a great actress.
Yeah.
So and her Harley Quinn was not, again, she was not the issue of the movie.
No,
Like, it was
not at all.
the ones that didn't work for that film. So, I mean, this kind of goes sorry, Jared, but like, I mean, it's just as it turned out was Jared Leto's Joker just didn't work the way it was presented. And everyone else that wasn't Margot Robbie. Like, she was the best part of that movie in terms of just a cohesive character, even though she was
Yeah.
written really weirdly. Like, there's that one line where she just like, we're bad guys. It's what we do. And I'm
Well, the subplot of her true allegiance was really the most interesting part of the whole movie.
but that
because
should
you
have
don't-
been
really was.
that should have, like, that was fucking, they relegated that to like because A, B, and C plots are usually what goes on in like
Yeah.
a movie.
Right.
They relegated that to E plot. And then when
Right.
the Joker shows up to rescue her, you're like, why should I care? Like,
Exactly.
you gave us no reason to care. Because when he
Yep.
just shows up, it's like, oh, I'm here to take you back. And then, like, in like the what's it called? The, fucking heat of the moment, he just lets her go. And, like, essentially to die. And it's like, where did this come from? But anywho's, back to the bats. Yeah, I mean, yeah, Christian Bale, definitely. And his trilogy has the best set of movies.
It does.
I mean, you can say what you want about Dark Knight Rises. It's not as good as Dark Knight, but it's easily not that bad. It's actually pretty good. And I should have brought this up at the top. I'm so sorry, folks. But just on a ranking level, this is according to the Rotten Tomatoes scores of the Batman films. The live action. 10, Batman and Robin, 11%. Batman v Superman, as we discussed, 28% in number 9. 8, Batman Forever, with a 38. Batman, 89. 71.
But Nicole Kidman in The Slip, I mean, come on, man.
To go with your Adam West, my man, Batman the movie, 78%. That came out in 66. So, I mean, I don't know how well aggregated those reviews are. No, I'm not throwing shade, but Batman Returns, 78% with Michelle Pfeiffer. Oh, they do have Batman Mask of the Phantasm, the animated one, because that actually was a theatrical release. They actually did put that out in theaters with an 84%. It's actually a pretty good movie. Really short, though. Just rewatched it. And then we have Batman Begins in number 3 with 84. Dark Knight Rises, 87%, number 2. And then The Dark Knight in first place with 94%. Because easily The Dark Knight, you would be hard-pressed to argue that there's a better one than that. You'd have to try really hard. The Dark Knight is... I saw that movie in theaters, I think, 3 times. Saw it on opening day, IMAX. I mean, rip, like Heath Ledger, all that shit. But again, to talk about the movie surrounding Batman versus just the Batman, the world and the movie surrounding Batman and the Dark Knight, and sorry, Nolan's trilogy, the Dark Knight trilogy, is just fantastic.
So
I'm gonna interject with something real quick, just
Please.
because you reminded me of something. So which Batman movie was it where the tragedy happened in the theater? Was that?
It was Dark Knight Rises.
Oh, that's right.
That's
that
right.
happened.
Yeah.
So I saw Dark Knight Rises opening night midnight, and so we saw the movie. We got out about 3:00 in the morning. No one had any clue what happened until later that day. It was in Aurora, Illinois.
yeah.
And if I'm not mistaken, and yeah, and that was that fucker got set up though. He ain't live in prison anytime soon. That piece of shit. Yeah, I mean, it's like, it's so sad because like even Christian Bale, I don't know if you guys knew this, but he went out there and visited the victims and visited their memorials and shit too.
That was actually how I found out about it.
Christian Bale going out.
I read a news article talking about how the actor of the movie was going to see the victims that got killed or whatever the circumstances were. When,
they were killed. I'll look it up real quick.
Yeah.
But please continue.
But the article that I first read, my first like initial finding out about it was the article. The subject of the article was talking about him dressing up like Batman and visiting kids in the hospital. And I was like, oh, that's cool. I thought it was maybe like a Make-A-Wish or he was just being a cool guy. And it said something about at the shooting or the victims or something. So I read more, got to that part of the article, and anyways, I looked more and more into it. That's how I found out about it.
I'll correct myself real quick. It was Aurora, Colorado, not Illinois.
That's right. I remember it was Aurora.
That's right.
And
And it's not too far away from Columbine. Also,
that's correct.
I think it's less than 30 minutes away drive from Columbine.
12 died, 70 injured, 58 from gunfire, 4 from tear gas, and 8 from fleeing the incident.
Jeez.
So I mean, this was not a. And it's what did he have? Oh, they have the weapons listed here. He had 2 tear gas grenades, Smith & Wesson MP5-15 Sport, Remington 870 Express Tactical 12-gauge shotgun, and Glock 22. So this guy walked in and just lit the whole theater up. I mean,
He was armed to the teeth.
man, he was ready. He was one man. I would argue he was set to set himself up to just be shot dead. That would be my argument, but they didn't. And if you watch any of the court proceedings, when he's sitting in court, he is like totally glazed over. Like he is just completely detached from reality, the shooter. I'm not even going to say his name because fuck him. He doesn't deserve it.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
All right. So my question to everybody is predictions.
yes.
The Batman, where is it going to fall?
In quality.
Where do you think Rob Pat's? Yeah, where do you think Rob Pat's Batman's going to fall in the list of Batman?
I'll let y'all go first, please.
Ooh.
Bro, I don't even know. I don't even know what Robert Pattinson looks like. I don't know anything about his acting. And, I will say this. I think there is a direct correlation with a movie's meme worthiness and its success. So if old boy used to be a vampire fairy and now he's a Batman, it ought to be pretty good.
I mean, no, and that's not a real quick. That is not a slur against the LGBTQ. He really is fairy-like in that movie. He twinkles, he sparkles.
You say he was
Right,
yeah.
you're right.
No,
He's
it's
a
very.
You know,
freaking
it's funny.
fairy.
It's funny you mentioned that because as I said that, it didn't even occur to me that that could have been misconstrued as what you were disclaiming it not to
But
be.
people have
He
That
called.
wouldn't have even
sparkles.
crossed my mind.
Yeah, but people. No, that's okay. Yeah, but it's like people have called that character that ever since his inception on screen of just being like this, all of
If he
these like
fucking sparkles and
I
Tinkerbell
mean,
he
sparkles, he
literally
makes
in
him
the
Tinkerbells.
look
sun, he's
scary.
bedazzled. He's bedazzled in the sun.
and he basically flies. He jumps from like super speed, super jumps from like tree to tree with her like the girl on her back, Kristen Stewart. It's trash. Anyways, go back to Davo's original question.
Oh, yeah. That's the girl that was in Panic Room, ain't it?
Yeah, when she was really young. Yeah,
Yeah.
with Jodie Foster.
Yeah.
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 What
Yeah.
were we
But
gonna,
predictions.
yeah, Jared, where you at?
I think it's going to be in the top three.
Oh, of
I
like
think it's gonna be in
Batman,
the
or
top.
like, wait, are you talking about the movie, by the way, Davo, or just Bat or Rob
Hi-
Pat's
His
performance?
his performance, Rob
Ooh.
Pat's performance. We're
Okay.
talking
Yeah.
about who's everybody's favorite Batman.
Yeah.
Where
So-
is he going to land on the list?
So if I do it based off just the trailer alone, I say easily top three. I mean, I like the trailer. I mean, that made me pretty excited.
Agreed.
So I think that I think he's having a complete change of. I think he's trying to rebrand himself. So I think he's going to put a lot more into this than
So
somebody who's already, somebody like Ben Affleck or somebody like that. He's trying to rebrand himself and come out of the trilogy that he just was a part of. That's really the only thing he's known by. So I think it's
Yeah,
going to be
that's what
pretty good.
I was just thinking that when you were talking about all the criticism he's gotten, John, that if he's got an opportunity to portray the Bat coming from a trilogy or however many movies it was where he's been heavily criticized, he ought to put on a hell of a performance.
So,
Yeah.
So I've seen this guy like it since like there was a film called Good Times which I haven't seen, but he was supposed to be really stellar in that. But he was also in I saw Tenet, the new Christopher Nolan film. He is really good in that. And then I saw a film called The Lighthouse with him and Willem Dafoe. And his performance in that movie, I heard that he was going to be Batman. Then I saw The Lighthouse. Then I said, "Holy shit, he's going to kill this." Like
Oh yeah.
his acting in The Lighthouse put all my doubts to bed. And cuz it's an amazing it's two actors in one small space. Do you know how hard that is to carry a film like that? And they fucking carry it. Right? So
Oh,
he
yeah.
does a great job in that. And so I'm really excited. I think he's going to be my top 3 as well cuz it's definitely Bale, Keaton, Kilmer, are unfortunately Ben and then Clooney
That was
for
so
sure.
hard for you to say.
Because I was thinking about Kevin Conroy, who voiced Batman, like in the animated series and in Batman Arkham Knight games and shit.
So are you not going as far back as counting Adam West, or is he just not on your list?
I'm so.
I'm just curious. I'm just curious.
I forgot about Adam. I forgot about Adam West. I'm so sorry. No, then
Okay,
he's definitely
okay.
no, he's definitely above Ben Affleck then for me. Because at least back then, with what type of like comic book movie and TV show they were trying to make, they knew their tone and they sold the tone. Hokey, kooky, and weird. It was there, but they sold it and it stuck.
That's why I was asking, because I could totally see why you might just be categorizing that one differently altogether.
I am because it's just from such a different time period of comic book storytelling in general that it's hard to compare it to today's, especially after '89 Batman taking the character down towards a darker route.
I
with
agree.
Keaton.
I agree.
It's so hard to compare. But I would put him underneath Val Kilmer.
All right.
Davo, talk to
So
us.
mine, number 1, Christian Bale.
Yep.
Obviously. Number 2, Adam West.
Mhm.
Okay. Number 3.
Ooh,
This
shit.
one's tough. Like this is where it gets hard for me. I'm gonna say Michael Keaton.
Okay.
Number 4. I'm gonna predict Robert Pattinson's Batman at number 4.
For sure.
for the simple fact I'm setting my standard low so I can be pleasantly surprised.
Yeah.
We're gonna come out when the movie comes out, and David's gonna have a Robert Patterson shirt on. Number one biggest fan.
I think that's going to happen. But after that,
He's gonna be Team Bruce after that.
Team
It would
Bruce,
be-
that's right. Let's go.
I think it would be after Robert Pat. I think it would probably be Val Kilmer, Ben Affleck, and then George Clooney.
And it's so
I mean,
sad.
that's how my list goes.
And just like final thought to keep like it's so sad because everyone in in these boxes know that George Clooney, like S tier, he's an amazing actor. And then same with, I mean, at least for me, because I've seen more stuff after he did Twilight. Robert Pattinson, I know he's an amazing actor. He doesn't have much of a legacy yet because he's a younger guy. But this Batman is supposed to like kind of chronicle essentially like the first year or 2 years that he is Batman. So that's why like, when you see some of the set photos and some of the footage from the trailer, he looks like it looks really kind of put together, patched together. Doesn't look completely finished.
Yeah.
And then the last, like one of the last parts here, this movie's directed by, I believe, is Matthew Vaughn. Let me check my math on that real quick, because if you don't know of that the name, this guy see, I was wrong, so sorry. Let me get back to you again. What's it called? War for the Planet of the Apes. So this guy, let me get his name. Matt Reeves, excuse me. He directed Dawn of the Planet of the Apes and Rise of the Planet of the Apes. I don't know if you guys have seen those 3 films, but I personally feel that's one of the best made trilogies ever.
Are we talking about the originals or any
These are the new ones.
remakes?
These are new ones with Andy Serkis and the CGI apes.
The only new one I've seen is the one with the Pineapple Express dude in it.
That's okay.
What's his
That was James Franco. That was the first one.
James Franco,
Rise
yeah.
of the Planet of the Apes.
Yeah.
Yes. Rise, Dawn,
I don't know.
War. Yeah, okay. That trilogy though is amazing. But this guy's like visual like his ability to tell stories as well as get character in it. By the way, he also directed Cloverfield. My favorite found footage film. I think that's the best one ever made.
So Cloverfield made me sick, but the other movies that are in that same universe, the one with John Goodman, that shit was
10
off the
Cloverfield
chain.
Lane. Yeah, that movie's actually pretty
Yeah,
good.
dude.
But I'm just bringing this guy up, Matt Reeves, because this guy, I feel, as we've seen in the trailer, can nail tone, style, and since I know he can fucking sell me CGI apes, this brother got it together.
Hell yeah.
I mean, bro, if you got a guy in a bat suit versus like Andy Serkis in a gray unitard on set, he can sell fucking Batman. I guarantee it.
So I've told this is somewhat related, getting off topic a little bit with the
Sure.
Cloverfield stuff, but me and Jared have talked at length about just me and him have known each other fucking 15 years, but so I get motion sick pretty easily. Like it does not take a lot to make me motion sick.
All right.
So the Cloverfield movie that was the found footage film,
Yeah, it was the first one.
man, I couldn't even finish that movie. Couldn't
Oh,
even
no.
get through it. But
I thought it was hot garbage. I mean, that's just my personal opinion.
see, I can't even say. I haven't even read the synopsis, and the way the camera worked and on the screen, I couldn't watch it, and I never read the synopsis. But if 10 Cloverfield Lane, that's the title of the one with John Goodman?
Yes, but that was directed by a different director. But please continue.
Okay. And I don't know the title of the movie, but the one where they're on the space station.
That's
and-
Cloverfield Paradox.
Oh my god, that shit was off the chain, man.
You like that one?
Never
I wish,
thought.
hell yeah, dude. I
Oh, wow.
love that shit.
Wow.
I wish it was a better movie than it was. Like the whole plot, the idea, the concept, like I loved everything about it. The actors kind of could have been better, I think, but overall that was I wish they could have done more with that universe of movies they made. But I loved it, dude. I got lost in it. I thought it was awesome.
Yeah, man. That whole saga is a really, really interesting story to tell about Cloverfield. But, folks, any final closing thoughts about the Batman or anything like that?
I hope that old boy from Robert Robinson
Pattinson?
or
Hmm?
what's his name?
Robert Pattinson.
Pattinson.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I hope as someone who's only really exposed to the Batman movies with Batman Forever with Val Kilmer and the Christian Bale movies, I hope he does well because I would love for there to be a new Batman movie that I could kind of respark my interest in Batman with. Because I haven't really, I mean, most of the movies y'all talked about in this whole segment, I haven't seen. So if there's one that he can do a good enough job of getting somebody like me who just hadn't had much interest in the character back into it,
Yes.
I'd be satisfied with that. I'd be happy.
Jared.
To concur.
And Mr.
That was
Davo.
short and sweet.
Yeah. Davo?
Wow. So I'm setting the bar low.
Yeah.
In hopes that I'm going to be pleasantly surprised.
Absolutely.
I was pleasantly surprised with the trailer. It's a new take that I wasn't expecting, and I'm setting the bar low. Impress me. He has every opportunity to, and I'll give him a shot. From the trailer, I can dig it. Now let's see what you do with it.
Yeah.
You can edit together, a couple of badass scenes. Now let's see what you do with it.
And I cannot believe I didn't think of this before we're wrapping up, but I have some faith in Warner Brothers because, yes, they give Zack Snyder another shot, and they made Joker with Joaquin. So if they're following up that Joker movie, which is...
Yeah, I remember seeing the memes about that.
Yeah, but that movie is amazing. It's a great film. So it's like, I'm saying, like, you have that, and it gave them the artistic ability. That movie made over $1 billion, and it's over.
Mm-hmm.
It's a rated R film, and it's a character movie. There's no big explosions. There's no Wonder Woman. There's no boobs, tits, sex, but it's sold because it was quality. And if Warner Brothers gives the same carte blanche to a great director like Matt Reeves for this Batman, I think sky's the limit, and justice will be served. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been the Alpha Idiots. Thank you so much for joining us. I hope you enjoyed the conversation. We hope to see you soon. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to these beautiful gentlemen you see before you. And maybe next time we might have more faces for you to gawk at. Because if you do, we know we'll get that OnlyFans started. On that note, folks, we will see you soon, folks. Guys, sign off in your own ways.
Y'all have a safe weekend.
Peace.
Peace.